This is the part 2/part 3 of why I made the term "Let me help you, lunatic." I'm kind of already laughing because I've kind of already been thinking about a couple of things, some unrelated, that were kind of funny. But the whole situation, well, no, the different situations I've gotten into with "Let me help you, lunatics" have honestly been pretty funny to look back on. I don't know if that's just a coping mechanism, but I honestly do think that some of the bullcrap that happens, honestly, is pretty funny. Especially the more recent "Let me help you, lunatic" situations. So anyway, I already went over the whole voodoo cult lady thing. I re-uploaded the whole voodoo cult lady video without like a whole bunch of stuff from my previous situation. And it's unlisted, but it's in the description of the other videos. And it's going to be in the description of this one too. So, where was I last at? I talked about, okay, yeah, so after the whole voodoo cult lady thing, I left that place. Well, I got her to drop me back off at the restaurant because that's where I had been like outside of, and I was just pretty much going to sleep at the daytime because, like I said, I didn't have a sleeping bag or a tent then. But a lady did eventually give me a sleeping bag though, which was actually the same sleeping bag that I had used up until some months and months ago when it ripped or something. I can't really remember. Then I had to get another one. So it was really nice that she did that because it definitely came in handy. And then I don't know what to say about this. So back outside the restaurant, went back to the hotel to talk to the lady who was like letting me shower and all that stuff in used rooms that weren't cleaned yet. So that's what's going on. I went there again, then the guard that never liked me for whatever reason had came, and he started talking about calling the police on me and all that. And then the hotel manager came out, and then this other lady who was gonna be the temporary hotel manager, she lived in a whole nother state, but she was just gonna be the temporary manager when the other one went out of town, something like that, can't really remember. But her and the psychologist hotel manager, no, wait a minute, I'm moving too far ahead. The hotel manager that was also a psychologist, and okay, wait a minute, no, I gotta start over. Well, no, do I want to do that? Not really. Okay, so the hotel manager that was also a psychologist and security guard had basically cornered me. And so then he started doing that whole "there is help" bullcrap. That bullcrap that people say when they really haven't been in a situation where they really, well, I guess I could say where they really needed help. Even though I kept saying that I didn't need or want help. And I already knew that there was nothing that any of these people could do to help me. And that I just was really trying to like find some under the table work and save some money up because of the whole thing that happened with the $1,000+ get out of, well, no, pretty much just wait till 18. That's basically what I was saying. Because I already knew that none of these people were going to help me. First of all, anybody that's trying to force something on you is never going to really actually help you anyway. They're usually people who are in a situation where they're doing just as bad as you or worse, or a little bit better. So yeah, he was like, you either let me help you or I'm just going to have to call the police. And so he had told me about how he was a psychologist, and then I just felt cornered, so that's when I started showing him and the temporary hotel manager the 1,090 plus, well, what I had left of the 1,090 plus abuse evidence videos, because it was a couple of days or something before this where the whole thing had went down, where CPS had snitched about most of the 2000 abuse evidence videos and got like half of them deleted. And so, yeah, I felt cornered into that. Really didn't even want to do that because I really don't want people to even know any of the stuff that happened. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, most people are so brainwashed about the systems to where they try to act like all that stuff doesn't happen. Or they'll try to make it feel, or they'll try to make me feel like it only happened to me and like my situation is rare or something, but it really isn't. These systems literally run off of people like me, and if it wasn't for situations like mine, I mean, the cash for kids system wouldn't even make any money. So, yeah, I showed him the video, showed the lady the videos, and then the dude was like, you do have rights. Because I said I really don't have any rights, and I'm just waiting until 18, and I didn't need help, and there really was nothing that they could do for me. But of course, he tried to do the little guilt trip bash thing where he was like, you do have rights, you just don't like the rights that you have. And he was like, I'm going to try to get you into some type of transitional youth placement or something like that. Some type of transitional living program for teens or youth or whatever, which honestly I doubt exists, but anything like that that does exist is definitely going to be a part of the Cash for Kids system. So it would still be horrific, but I already knew that he wasn't going to be able to do something like that anyway. You can't even do something like that without parents' permission. And so then the temporary hotel manager lady, she was like, these videos are good, but I do feel like a lot of stuff in the videos is just background noise because you talking about the stuff that your enabler siblings do and that, like, basically she was trying to tell me that there was too much evidence. And so since there was too much evidence, a lot of the stuff was background noise. And basically, she tried to tell me that that's why nothing was happening with the whole evidence thing, which was bullcrap. Nothing was happening because there's no system put in place to help. And that's the thing. If I would have not had evidence, and I wouldn't have had 2,000 videos of just different little bullcrap, crazy situations that happened over the past few months, I would have been told that the reason that I wasn't getting any quote-unquote help was because I didn't have any evidence. That's how people do, though. If you don't have evidence, you get told that you can't get help because you don't have evidence. But if you do have evidence, you get told what I got told, which is that I had too much evidence. Because I remember people were telling me in support groups, nobody is going to sit down in court and watch 2,000 videos. I mean, it's probably true, but I didn't really believe it would ever get to court. And of course it didn't, because there is no quote-unquote help. And honestly, I mean, I was already in the Cash for Kids system. The last thing I would want is to be trafficked through CPS when I'm already going through a lot of the mess that they do since they're part of the Cash for Kids system. But anyway, so they told me all that bull crap. And then the psychologist hotel manager was like, I'm going to find somewhere safe for you to be until I get a call back from the transitional youth placement on Monday. And so this was Saturday. And so he found a Hathaway house that was, I guess, somewhere in Atlanta, because I remember when the Hathaway house lady had ended up turning me into the police and I got locked up and all that, my mom was talking about how the police had, quote unquote, found me in Atlanta. That's really not true because they don't even look for people anyway, but that's a side thing. I don't even want to go into all of that mess. But they really don't. Unless maybe you have missing white woman syndrome or whatever. And then depending on what state you're in, if you're 14 or younger, the FBI automatically get involved. But other than that, they don't look. They be in the police. So he found the Hathaway house. The temporary manager lady had drove me there. And she was like, we're going to let you see all the places that you could stay at till Monday. And you get to choose whether you want to stay or not. Even though I really didn't feel like I had a choice because I really felt cornered. Because if I wouldn't have felt cornered, I would have never even went for any of that at all. And I had videos of all this actually on the evidence channels. I still do have the videos of this saved to some email, but I don't really want to re-upload that stuff because I'm trying to have this channel about the cash for kids system in general and just the systems and how they do people. And I don't want this to be about my situation anymore, at least not mine specifically. So yeah. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so I went to the Hathaway house. The lady was like, "We run off of medical insurance, and so you have to sign the papers." And I was just like, I don't want to sign these papers. I didn't say this, but I was just thinking, I was like, I don't want to sign these papers because, for one, she's probably going to look me up. And then when she looks me up and sees a missing persons report, she's going to feel some type of way because all the false mental labels that are in there to try to, like, basically it scares people into feeling like, well, we need to get this person off the streets because that means these labels mean that they're going to do something to somebody else. So screw what they have going on, whether the labels are true or not. We just need to worry about the safety of us and our kids because of this person with quote unquote issues who's out here. And that's the really sick mindset, but that's how people think, and that's why abusers will use labels in situations like this when it comes to like the missing persons reports or whatever. So yeah, that happened. Wait a minute. Yeah, that was out there, the report. And then I signed the papers. I really didn't want to, but the lady was like, we run on medical insurance. And basically, she made up some stupid reason why I needed to sign the papers and how she needed to, like, see my SSN, which I don't think my SSN really had anything to do with it. Just my name being on the paper. Which is why you're supposed to go by a fake name and fake age and really never let yourself get cornered in situations like this in the first place when you're like doing the lay low to late team thing. Also, why you have to get as far away from the state that you're from as quick as possible. Honestly, if you could do that as soon as you leave, then do it like that instead of waiting days or months or weeks to get on the bus and go somewhere. So, the Hathaway House lady had acted like she was going to let me stay there, which the whole situation will always be really crazy to me because she was acting like I was supposed to be staying there for years or months or weeks or something. I was only supposed to stay there for a couple of hours, really, because it was already Saturday night. I was only waiting till Monday. I was only going to be at that place for one day. And for whatever reason, she felt like she had to get me locked up, and then she never took accountability for it. I had even messaged her on TikTok like some months ago because since I had her number, like her TikTok would pop up and all that. So I had even messaged her on there, and she just blocked me. But that's how people like that are, though. People like this never want to take accountability for anything that they do. They never want to take accountability for the fact that they were a flying monkey or enabler when all they really had to do was not do what they did in the first place. So yeah, the hotel manager lady left. I was asleep, and then I woke up Sunday morning to the lady and the police, and I was basically being told, well, they were beating around the bush, but I was basically being told that I was about to get locked up and then sent back home, and then I even had snuck a phone into the place, which I had did before another time, which I had a video of that situation too in 2018, where I had snuck a phone inside of a bear, but this time I did it differently. So I had a mini phone. I had bought a mini phone that was like $150 or something like that months and months back because due to the situation I was in, I was like, just in case I ever get locked up again, I need to have something that I could use to record, but that's small enough to actually like be easy to sneak into a place. But funny enough, when I got to the ER, the staff were mad because this lady who was advocating for me, the one I mentioned in the other video who typed up one of the witness reports and used to work for foster care in Canada, and she had even left her number and email in on the witness report and let the quote unquote mandated reporters know that they could reach out to her if they like wanted to know about whatever. She tried to like help me get a lawyer and an advocate when I had got locked up, but the staff at the hospital were mad because of course they felt like, oh, this might be somebody that can help her sue us for not doing anything. And so they were mad, and so they had came. Wait, I'm skipping stuff. Now I'm jumping ahead. Hold up. Okay, I do this in every video, but I'm gonna get back to that. But I gotta go back to what I was supposed to be talking about. So the police had well, wait a minute. The Hathaway House lady, or manager, whatever in the world, owner, I don't know really what she was. I don't know if she owned it, but I know she worked there. She had showed the police the evidence videos, and she was like, "There's no way around a Maddie's alert," which is basically Georgia's version of a silver alert. Because I know, like North Carolina and some other states, they have silver alerts, and then sometimes in Georgia they call it bolos, and that's for like somebody with some type of quote unquote mental illness or that's elderly or whatever. So the lady was like, "There's no way around a Maddie's alert." And then I had started messaging like the hotel people and a couple other people that I met about the fact that I was getting locked up. And then the Hathaway House owner lady or whatever had got mad at me, and she was like, now they're texting me asking me why I called the police on you and asking me about how you're going to jail. And then she was like, "You're not going to jail." And I was like, "I'm literally being arrested and about to go to jail or just get locked up somewhere in general, some part of the cash for kids system." And so she was trying to lie about the fact that she had even turned me in while I was sleeping, the fact that I was about to get locked up and sent back home. And so the lady who was sneaking me into the hotel to shower and stuff, she was mad about the whole situation and how everything had played out. And yeah, so I got locked up. I had videos about the whole situation that happened when I was locked up. It actually was the least worst cash for kids system placement I had ever been in. Like, I was so used to staff beating on everybody and people being drugged up and stuff, but that really didn't happen like that in there. I mean, of course, being in the cash for kids system is going to be bad, but like, it wasn't the horrendous stuff that I was used to. I actually didn't even get drugged, to be honest. I mean, I did start getting put on some pill that was quote unquote supposed to help me sleep a day before I left. I started getting put on it, but I mean, it was whatever. I didn't even mind because it was a pretty low dose and I was about to leave anyway, so it's not like I was getting drugged the whole time and having all those side effects and all that stuff. Of course, it wasn't really for sleep, and psychotropics actually don't even help with sleep. What they actually can do, though, is put you in comas that are 16 plus hours, which can mimic being sleep, but it's really not sleep. And then actually, there's this other drug that people talk about where the person will be up all night, but since the drugs cause amnesia, they don't even remember the fact that they didn't go to sleep. Like this lady, she had told her story in some comment section. She was like, I was on, I can't even remember what drug, but she was like, I was taking this drug. It's a psychotropic. And I went to a sleep study and I thought that I was getting good sleep, but I found out that I actually wasn't asleep at all and I was up all night, but the pills just gave me amnesia about it. So yeah, the staff were pretty childish at this place though. So that was pretty like that was pretty, it wasn't like abusive, but it was somewhat abusive, but still not as bad as I was used to. So it was still whatever to me. And yeah, so staff were childish and they would do and say a lot of triggering stuff to people, but still at least we weren't getting beat on and drugged up and all that crap. And there was even this one girl in there. She was on some pills and she was crying because they made her not be able to sleep at night. And then the staff were like, "You don't have to cry. You have the right to refuse meds." And they let her refuse the meds and she still got to go home to her abuse situation. But I mean, she was happy she got out. She was horrendously depressed, so she had bags around her eyes and everything. Really from the drugs and whatever her situation was. But yeah, so it wasn't that bad. I was terrified too. So I guess now I could get to the ER part. I was terrified in the ER because of what I was used to, even though I actually hadn't even been in like lockdown cash for kids system placements as much as some other people in these types of abuse situations, but I was still really traumatized from the few experiences I did have in these types of places. But when I got there, it actually wasn't that bad because I had almost died from the drug side effects from Club Daily 14 and all that stuff a couple times, and I was just really worried about that. Part of why the advocate lady I mentioned earlier was trying really hard to get me a lawyer or whatever to get me out of that situation. And she had even reached out to Mad in America about my situation to try to get them to put out a public alert about what was happening. But, like I said, I had stopped talking about it to get back to what I was supposed to be talking about. The ER staff had got mad because they were scared that this lady could help me sue them. And so basically, I wasn't supposed to have a phone, but I had managed to sneak it in there because I had told the police officer and people in the ambulance that I didn't have a phone. I think no, wait, yeah, I told the police I didn't have a phone. I can't remember if I told the people in the ambulance I didn't have a phone or not. I probably told them I didn't have one because I wasn't supposed to have a phone anyway. So I didn't want them to tell my mom that or mention something about that to her. And I had the mini phone and I had my regular phone. I didn't have my power bank yet, I don't think. So what happened was, yeah, I got to the ER. They had winded me with the metal detector thing. It didn't detect either phone because I had both of the phones on me. And so I had the charger wrapped around my waist, and the power bank was in between my legs. And then there was this thing that I had learned from my old abusive friend, side story. But there's this thing I learned from my old abusive friend when I was in sixth grade, and basically she would sneak her phone into school by putting it in the front of her pants. But the thing is, you have to either have on pretty tight underwear or you have to have on a pair of regular underwear. Well, I mean, at least if you're a girl or whatever, and shorts under your pants. But I had on swim shorts, and so those kind of were like that. So I had the charger wrapped around my waist, so the cord was around. Hold up. No, can I show that? Not really. So power bank. No. The wall piece was in between my legs. The phone was in the front of my pants, and I can't even remember where I put the mini phone, to be honest. I think both of those were in my pants somewhere, in my swim shorts somewhere. And so they didn't find the phone, and of course, once I got into the actual whatever it's called, the institution or whatever, once I got in there, they didn't even really think to check me because they assumed that since I had already been arrested and been in the ER for I was in the ER for a couple of days, I think. They assumed that I had already been checked. So they didn't even check me, but of course I had to change into the scrubs. Actually, that was kind of weird though. The fact that we weren't allowed to wear clothes. I mean, of course you're usually not allowed to wear underwear or anything in these types of places, but that was the first place I had been to where you had to walk around in scrubs all day. And so no, I'm skipping something. I gotta go back. Wait a minute. Okay, back to the part that I somehow skipped over. So, when I was messaging the advocate lady, the staff had found out because she had told me to email a couple of emails, but I didn't really think about what they were for. I was just really in panic mode and trying to get out of this situation because I didn't know where I was about to be locked up at for how long or what all was going to be going on there. And so, I wait a minute. The staff came in and they had seen the witness reports. Of course, they didn't want to report about that situation since they were making money off the Munchausen and all that. But they did try to report about some old bull crap that was in the witness reports that happened years and years ago. And I was like, you guys don't report about the current situation, but you report about some bull crap that happened not 5+, but a whole bunch of years ago. That's another thing I noticed about mandated reporters, though. to try to okay, wait a minute. Basically, they don't want you to be able to sue them. So instead of making a report about what's actually going on, they'll make a report about some little bull crap that's kind of insignificant. So that way, if you do try to sue them, they could say, well, we did make a report and it's documented here. But they did make a report about what was actually going on, though. It's a way to try to hop around being able to get sued. So yeah, that happened. They came in, they were like, we have a notification that there's a device in this room that's on the Wi-Fi. First of all, that's bull crap. I don't even really think you can tell something like that on Wi-Fi. Basically, what happened was the advocate lady had me to email the patient advocate for this specific hospital, but I didn't know that that's who I was emailing. And so basically, that advocate had let them know that I was emailing them. And they got mad about that. And they also were mad about the fact that I had people trying to help me anyway. And so, yeah, that had happened. Then they had came to me and they were like, your mom told us that your mom mentioned some diagnosis to us, but we don't believe that you have some of these. And they were like, did a doctor say? Did the doctor say this? Did the doctor say that? But they never really let me talk about the whole situation. They don't care anyway. There was a lot of funny crap that happened with this situation, but to make a long story short, all that happened. I got locked up. Oh yeah, forgot to mention when they had came in. Wait a minute. When they had came to ask me about the whole thing with me emailing, well, with quote unquote a phone showing that it was on the Wi-Fi, which was some bullcrap. I gave them the mini phone, but I kept the bigger phone because the mini phone was already almost dead or something like that. And I really needed I needed something to distract them from the fact that I had the other phone. So I gave them the miniature phone, and I kept the bigger phone in the charger. And then they were like, do you have anything else? And I was like, no. And then they were like, stand up. And so I stood up, and I was really worried, but luckily the phone didn't fall, and neither did the charger or any of that. And that was really, really painful, too. I was literally walking around with I don't know why I keep saying power bank, with the wall piece in between my legs, and it hurt really, really bad, but I really wanted to, be able to reach out to somebody or record something if anything crazy happened. So I got to the institution, and they didn't even have plugs. And when I had to change into the scrubs, I was terrified because the scrubs were too big. I couldn't wear underwear, and the phone and the charger was falling. And the phone was falling down my leg, and so was the charger. But since the pants were too big, I was kind of able to pretend that I was just trying to hold the pants up. And that's stuff that you have to learn when you're in these types of situations. I honestly had to learn how to think really, really quick, which actually has helped me out a lot. There was this point in time some months and months back where, for whatever reason, the police started harassing me and trying to arrest me for quote unquote being young. And I don't even know what happened. I guess maybe somebody reported something, but it really didn't make sense because all I was doing was sitting at the boardwalk and drinking a frappe, but somehow the police were told something. And so they were trying to arrest me for being, I guess for being a homeless kid. I don't really know what, because they were beating around the bush so much, but I guess somebody said whatever about me being suspicious or something. And so, yeah, the police tried to arrest me, and they had even almost ran me over because they told me I was free to go, but they lied. They told me I was free to go, but then they started secretly following me and secretly bringing out more cops. And so there was 20 cops for whatever reason. And then they almost ran me over while secretly following me after saying I was free to go. So anyway, that whole situation had happened. And I was like, I got to think of something quick, because if I don't, I'm going to be locked up. I'm going to be locked up somewhere, and I'm going to be sent home, or I'm going to be locked up somewhere, and nobody's even going to know that I'm locked up somewhere, because that's how these people do. And so I was like, I gotta think of something. And this time, by the way, not the first time I tried to leave. And so I was like, I know. The white people around here can't tell different dark-skinned people apart. I just need to call whoever I know that I've met since I've been out here and lie and say that they're my sibling or something. I didn't want to say parent, because if I say parent, they may like get blamed for something that they don't have anything to do with. And so I called this lady that I had met. She was like 22 at the time, and I lied and said she was my sister. And luckily, she was able to show up pretty quick. I think her dad dropped her off, to be honest. And so, yeah, she had came and pretended to be my sister to keep me from getting arrested. And yeah, I had to learn to think quick in a lot of situations. And it did work out in my favor. So, this is the part 2 of why I made the term "Let me help you, lunatic." And so, to end this, of course, nothing that these people did, other than the lady that was sneaking me into the hotel to let me shower, other than that, nothing that these people did helped me in any way. It just caused more chaos, which is exactly why I said I didn't need help, didn't want help. There was nothing that they could do to help me, and that I really didn't want to be around people anyway. And I just wanted to wait things out until 18. But people don't listen, people don't care, and people will screw things up for you.